All right. So, I'm going to be starting a new game to kind of just walk through my thoughts on the game while I go through it, and to just kind of try and go on little tips that I came up with to try and help myself not be as bad at this game as I was when I started. So here we go.
In the closing years of the Sengoku era, Japan was consumed by perpetual conflict. Fires of war raged on, spreading deep into the mountains, to the land of Ashina. Master swordsman Ashina staged a bloody coup and wrested control of the land.
What's the matter, Stray? Nothing left to lose. Well, would you look at that? Fascinating. Will you join me, starving wolf?
On that day, a young cub was taken from the battlefield. He trained relentlessly and indeed went on to become a master shinobi.
Listen, wolf. You must never forget the shinobi code. As your father, my word is absolute. Your master's is a close second. As of today, he is your master. Defend him with your life. If he is taken, bring him back at any cost. You understand me, don't you, wolf?
It does sound a lot more sinister in English, that's for sure.
Some 20 years after Ishin's coup, the Ashina clan was on the brink of collapse. And the shinobi, known as Wolf, had lost everything. Both the man who took him in and the boy he had sworn to protect.
So, obviously the tutorial, nothing really noteworthy here. Kind of run through pretty quickly. This one actually teaches you how to play the game slightly versus some of the other Souls games that pretty much rely on those grounds red sequences. Here we learn about stealth.
That shinobi at the bottom of the well.
Get to hear a little bit of story.
Restrain him, nothing. That doesn't worry anybody?
Not at all. Not only is he unarmed, he has completely lost his will to live. Nothing but a coward, unworthy of our concern.
Get to learn all about yourself. And we go right over here, learn about eavesdropping. Obviously, at the beginning of the game, there's not much of... No, you just want to stay stealth so that you don't raise alarm, but the game kind of already teaches you that. One of the nice things here is you can't really run off ledges unless there's something underneath you, or walk off ledges rather. So you can just go over here and ooh, you fall because there's something underneath you, but like here, you just run. It doesn't stop you. Here's all relatively just normal beginning of game stuff.
You did well to come here. It's been too long, Wolf.
I've come to free you, my lord.
Well then. Raise your head. Kusabimaru, your sword. My shinobi. In accordance with the bond of lord and retainer, you will pledge your life in my service.
As you command.
You get your sword, so you can actually do combat. Talk to him again to make sure you can get the healing gourd.
I see you are wounded. I have something that may help. It is a special gourd of medicinal waters. Use it to heal your wounds.
My lord.
Now then, were you gravely injured? Afterward?
After what?
Do you not remember that night?
I do not.
No. We'll talk about it later. Right now, we must escape Ashina Castle.
As you say.
There's a secret passage beneath the moat bridge that will take us out of the castle. Lord Ishin told me about it once. I ask you to find that secret passage. Once you find it, signal me with a reed whistle. You know, like you used to long ago. I will join you as soon as I hear it. Wolf, do you have something for me?
I just have this dialogue because I've already beaten the game. Giving Kuru his charm gives me more experience, but makes me take damage when I block instead of deflecting, so I will keep it.
I see. I leave this in your hands then, Wolf.
So there's no reason to do that. Obviously we want to equip the gourd. Use the healing. even though it shouldn't be necessary. Come up here, grab a pellet. Pellets are useful. They're a little heal over time. Not quite as strong as the gourd, but they work well enough. And teaches you about death blows. One of the things to remember about this game is it is primarily a stealth game. Outside of the boss battles, almost everything can be done in stealth. Oop. This teaches you about deflection, just perfectly timed. When you perfectly deflect an attack, you deal a lot of posture damage, which is the primary way you win fights in this game. See the difference right there between going up and attacking them. See, I missed it there, so I didn't completely fill up his posture. One of the main things is that there's two different sounds and visuals. The counter slash isn't super important. The first one is just a regular block. It just is that little tink. And then the big one. Ooh, and that's me getting my posture broken. This guy isn't very difficult. He doesn't really punish you, but if you don't perfectly time that deflect, he does deal a lot. This teaches you about the death blows. Let's see. Oh, he does not take a lot. Gives you a pellet, but you kind of need it to move on because it kind of blocks you. Nothing super interesting over here, except for if you fall, you just have to jump back. I fall all the time, so I normally end up going over here. You can just hop over that way too. Not really a big deal. But the fighting in the game basically comes down to three things. Stealth kills. Oh, I'll eavesdrop on this. So, combat comes down to three things. Stealth, deflects, and blocks. And all of it's generally how you deal with enemies. Almost every enemy in the game can be snuck up on and attacked for a one-hit kill with a death blow, except for bosses. Bosses are really where your primary combat challenge comes in. That's actually one of the things that I found frustrating the first time I played through this game, is that since you can kill so many of the regular enemies in a stealth, you don't really need to learn the combat too well outside of fighting them. So, keep going.
Wolf, you found it. Now let us leave this place.
Yes, my lord.
To think that this is the only way, to run from the fated bloodline, is the only answer.
Talk to him for a little bit more.
Where shall we go once we're away from the castle? I suppose the first thing we should do is cross the Ashina border. Or perhaps we should hide somewhere. What do you think?
Whatever you desire,
Whatever I desire? That's the wolf I know.
my lord.
Oh, nothing. I was just reminiscing. Onward then.
So like I was saying, since the combat really only comes into play in the mini-bosses and bosses, you actually spend a lot of time not really practicing your skills if you just stealth around. And then our scripted loss, which I'll just lose because it takes a long time.
The divine heir.
last we stood together was your uncle's funeral.
Lord Genichiro. Thank you.
Leave this to me.
So the noble shinobi stands in our way.
It'd be cool if fighting him actually had any purpose. Oh, there we go. The only difference if you win this fight is you stand in front of him and a Nightjar Ninja throws a shuriken at you that you deflect and then get your arm chopped off and get lectured about victory versus honor. But it's nice that it was included.
Is that all the shinobi has to offer? The divine heir will be coming with me.
Yeah, this guy right over here, he throws a shuriken at you that you end up deflecting and getting your arm cut off anyway. But it's a fun little skill thing. After you've played the game and learned, see if you can beat him in the first round. You do have to go through both health bars. We meet our good friend the sculptor. He gives us the very useful Shinobi prosthetic.
So you're awake. Looks like death is not your fate, just yet.
The Shinobi prosthetic is what basically gives us the advantage in the fights. Many fights.
You call yourself. Your eyes, the eyes of a wolf who has failed in his duties. Or so it seems to me.
That is not your concern.
Spoken like a true shinobi. I must carve the Buddha. You do what you will.
He gives us some good information.
Why am I here?
All I did was drag you here. Didn't even know if I was dragging a corpse. Couldn't let you get eaten by a pack of wild dogs.
How long was I asleep?
Some time has passed since I found you.
I see.
However, your master yet lives. He's being held prisoner in Ashina Castle. They will soon make use of his bloodline. Looking at you, I'm sure you appreciate the value it has.
What did you mean when you said they'll make use of his bloodline?
I don't know much about him, except the dragon's heritage. There's a special kind of blood by that name, and that blood runs through your master's veins.
The divine heir.
Someone's after him. Might be that the strange things happening to your body have something to do with that.
My left arm.
useless when it comes to carving Buddha, though. You can have it.
Shinobi prosthetic.
It is no mere replacement for human stone. Come to me if you find any shinobi tools.
Shinobi tools. I see. This device.
You catch on quick. If you bring me shinobi tools, I'll find a way to fit them to the shinobi prosthetic. Then you'll come to appreciate its worth. I've said too much. Oh no.
And that is very true.
You're quite the strange one. Yet other peculiar visitors have come to this temple. There's one in the clearing to the right of the gate leading off the temple grounds. Two strangers in strange circumstances. You two might get along.
So, the Shinobi prosthetic is basically the one thing that teaches you or gives you an advantage in most of the fights. A lot of times you'll see people just trying to win with straight sword combat, deflect and counterattack and all that. There's a lot of fights that using the right Shinobi tool can really help you.
Never seen you before. Your name? Won't tell me. But you do have the look of a skilled shinobi. A shinobi. Or perhaps... Sir, please heed my humble request. Face me in battle.
This guy is our trainer that you can practice all the different mechanics of the game with.
Damn. Still alive. That swordsmanship. It was a thing to behold. Few have managed to kill me in such a thorough manner. What are you? Some call it undying. Others infested. I can't die, so I just am. How about you? What brings you to a rundown temple like this? Seems you have a lot on your mind. Say, why don't you use me for some sword practice? Might come in handy for whatever your mission is. A warm body that can't die might prove useful to you. A volunteer mine. Well? Very well. Right then. Let's go. They say swinging one sword is a cure for boredom.
So he gives you a bunch of different training things that you can go off of. They're important, but
You have techniques to try out. I'm at your disposal.
the main thing is, even though he teaches them in a very basic manner, so you kind of just understand the ideas, but everything, the game obviously makes it much harder than the training dummy. Your sculptor's idols, easy to understand from Souls, just your standard bonfires, grappling hook, main traversal device that helps you get around. Oop. Missing that square, do that a lot. Right away, the game's already putting tons of grapple points in front of you to try and make you realize, hey, use this tool, it's important. Teaching you about travel, nothing revolutionary. Teaching you about plunging death blows, one of the ways you can one-shot almost everything in the game. Holding square to pick up loot. I did not get this tooltip for quite a while, and I was kind of frustrated because I was walking by enemies not seeing their loots shining, but not sure why or how to pick it up, because it does not just give you an interact with their corpse. So like I said, almost every fight in the game can actually be avoided. You can stealth through this entire section and not actually need to do a single actual combat. But I'll do a little bit of combat just for the fun of it. So the combat has a rhythm to it that not a lot of people discuss. Whenever you're attacking somebody, there's their regular blocks and then there's their deflects. Their deflects signal that they are about to counterattack you. So let's see if I can see it on this guy. So he sees me, and I attack him. That's his deflect. That second thing was his deflect. The first one was the dull attack, and then, oop, forgot an item up here. Come up here to grab an item. The first dull clanging of the sword was his block. The second one is his deflect, and then the enemies almost always immediately counterattack after that. You can do ranged attack dive here. So 1, 2, counterattack. 2, counterattack. Just like that. Oh, then we have dogs. Dogs here in this game aren't the worst compared to some of the other From Software games. But once again, we don't even have to go through the main pathway. We've got our grappling hook, so we can completely go around, which is what we'll do. Down there's a few items. Can come right around, grab this statue. And then we can get our first shinobi tool, the shuriken. Very important for dealing with a lot of the small enemies, animal enemies, things that like to jump around and be small. This just tells us that we can go back to the sculptor to work on it. Defeat the dogs. I do hate fighting dogs in games. I understand that they are hunting animals, but I really don't like how they're so common. I'd much rather, I don't know, a good animal to fight instead. Up here we run into our first rooster. They're annoying, but not much of a big deal. They crow, they make noise. So up here we actually have our first mini-boss. And he kind of is here to teach you two important lessons. The first one is that every mini-boss, or almost every mini-boss, there is a way to sneak up on him and perform a death blow, so you only have to work through one health bar instead of two. He's sitting here, he really just looks straight ahead, he doesn't do much. You can go up on the rooftops around, or you can just sneak around the side. He doesn't patrol or have any guards with him, so you can just get an easy first death blow on him. And then we get to learn about perilous attacks. So each perilous attack has a different way to deal with it. There's the jump, the step dodge, and then the deflect. Later on, we get a Makiri counter to deal with deflects, which is way better. He pretty much only attacks with sweep attacks, so we can jump over him. He's not a big deal. You can just really pressure him. See, there's that jump. He's going to try and regain his posture. We don't want that. Nothing really to him. You just pressure him, attack him. Try not to greed. I'm a very big greeter. You get two important items off him. First one's the prayer bead, second one's the gourd seed. The gourd seed's the way that you get more charges of your healing gourd, which is of course very important. Come over here, get the fistful of ash. Not really much. But every mini-boss, you can pretty much find a way to sneak up on him and get a death blow. Or find a different way to get some sort of advantage. And it's very important to try and look for that, especially if you are like me. Not super good at deflecting, not super good at timing. So, we've gotten two important items, one being the gourd seed, one being the shinobi prosthetic tool. So now, we're going to go back. This just tells me about the physical enhancement. Since you don't level up necessarily in this game. The way you increase your stats are through prayer beads and memories. We got 1 of 4. Every 4 prayer beads, we increase our health and posture by 20%, which obviously allows us to survive better. The memories come from bosses, which raise our attack power. So we're going to try and get as many bosses in each playthrough as possible. But first, we go back to the temple to give the sculptor our shuriken. And we'll meet Emma, and we'll give her a gourd seed. And here's the lovely Emma. Very helpful.
You truly returned from the dead. The power of the dragon's blood. I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes.
Who are you?
My name is Emma. I am a doctor serving a certain master.
What master?
Forgive me, but for his safety, I cannot reveal his identity. However, my master gave explicit orders to assist you in any way I can. I'm not telling you to trust me. However, I must fulfill my master's orders. The gourd of medicinal water you possess, that was originally a creation of mine. I am a doctor, and I will assist you in that capacity.
So we give her the healing gourd, and she tells us that she can upgrade it.
You made this gourd.
Yes, it was intended for Lord Kuro, but it seems he entrusted it to you. I'm sure you may have noticed, but the medicinal waters in this gourd spring forth on their own. Even after being emptied, you will find it full again after a short rest.
Yes. Is there a way to improve it?
Bring me gourd seeds.
Gourd seeds?
Yes, medicinal waters flow from gourd seeds. Adding new seeds will increase the volume of these medicinal waters. If you find any, bring them to me.
All right.
And of course, we already have one.
Is this a gourd seed?
Yes. Bring it here. Plant the seed into the gourd. Perfect. Now the volume of medicinal waters in your gourd will increase.
Very important.
Such a strange medicine.
Is it strange? I don't take any offense to that. If it's effective, then that's cause for celebration, whether it's strange or not. That's what my mentor Dogen taught me.
I see.
Please bring me any other gourd seeds you find. I should be able to further increase the volume of the medicinal water.
So, we'll be right back in a moment. Alright, just had a car alarm going off that I was investigating. So we gave her the gourd seed, increased our healing, which is important. Alright, now that that crisis is averted, we're gonna go get our first upgrade.
A shinobi tool?
Yes.
I said before that your prosthetic arm was a fang, but by fitting shinobi tools to your arm, you'll be able to change the form of that fang. Thick shields, break them into splinters. Swift foes, bring them down from afar. Fitting more devices, these more ways to slay your enemies. If there's someone that needs killing, there's a proper way to kill them. That's all there is to it.
Seems you know this prosthetic very well.
I should calm myself. The more I speak of bloodshed, the more demonic my sculptures will become. Give it here. I'll fit that tool for you.
Actually, one of the most important lines of dialogue in the game. There's a way to use the tool for almost every enemy. So we get the shuriken, useful for at least one boss and for a lot of enemies. Oop.
Yes, right. That kind-faced Buddha you see over there. Don't do anything funny with it.
This just teaches us how to do it. Important thing is to equip your shinobi tool. The statue we don't worry about just yet. And now we get spirit emblems, which is basically what powers the shinobi tool and is effectively what I consider magic for the game. We won't actually find it that useful outside of dealing with dogs until the first boss. But to be honest, for most of the animal enemies, I just attack them because it can serve spirit emblems. So, returning to the Ashina outskirts, everybody is respawned, of course, except for our mini-boss friend. Let's see, there's the items down there that I can get later. I think that's just the rooster seeing me. So here is first major stealth section. We can traverse around, grappling around. And then we get to this guy. That gunner's gonna see us, but it's whatever. Oh. There your eyes being a little bit funky. Deflect. Counter. Oop. I'm making a mistake. So I will go ahead and heal. Dropping down here, there is a unique enemy. So go ahead. And deal with him. Gunner still sees me. Run around, grapple up here. Deal with him. There's a gunner right down there. I'll come back around here. And jumping down. If you're a little bit faster, you can get the death blow there. Oh, one guy that I unkilled. Oh, two guys, right. Three guys. Ooh, back off to heal. And since I'm low, I'm just going to go ahead and run away. So that's one of the things. There's definitely right ways and wrong ways to play sequences. So if you're finding that you did something very wrong, no reason not to run away. Go back, reset the area. And honestly, at the end of the day, in order to get skill points, a little bit of grinding never hurts. So, reset and see if we can do that a better way. And honestly, whenever you get to a new area, that's a valid approach. No reason to be worried about doing it this way. So, one of the things we remember from here, instead of going that direction that the grapple hook brought us, let's go and deal with the gunners first. Gunners generally have the best eyesight in the game and will notice you from very far away. Normal guards walking around don't really seem to notice you as well. So, you see, like from there, when I killed that guy, the gunner shot at me. This time I killed the gunner, and that guy doesn't even seem to notice me. So, first time I came through, I followed the grapple hooks and put myself in a bad situation. Second time, I learned from the first time, and I'll approach it differently. Deal with the gunners first. Now I'm over here, these two guys, and now they're actually having a conversation. Wait, what? Oh, that's interesting. The random patrol found me. So yellow means they're looking for you, but they don't know where you are. So you can still sneak up on them and death blow them, which is different from when they're red, and you can't. So, right now, I don't think you can do air death blows when they are on guard. I know you can do stab. Yeah, I know you can stab them in the back. Ooh. It's messed up. I didn't notice I wasn't crouched. But one of the important things, especially in the early game, is to not overextend yourself. Don't be afraid of hiding. You don't get any awards for, you know, bravado in this game. Just take a sequence slow. Don't get overwhelmed. Try and death blow as many enemies, backstab them, jump around. They reset. You don't have a lot of tools to deal with multiple threats at the beginning of the game. Definitely avoid these guys as much as possible. See? Because one little mistake like that can definitely put you behind. And like I said, the normal guardsmen are actually pretty dumb. Do a lot of pretty dumb things. Oh. Oops. Wow. Was not expecting to die that quickly, but I was getting impatient.
Loyal wolf, take my blood and
first time you die, you get this nice thing that lets you know you can resurrect, which is, of course, the name of the game. Shadows die twice. This guy is being weird. I do not know what this guy is doing. So like I was saying, you can get overwhelmed pretty quickly, especially in the early game when you don't have a lot of tools. I wasn't backing off to heal there because I thought I was better than I was, but one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because, you know, I'm definitely not the only person who's not super good. So there's an NPC over there that we want to talk to. But there's also some things on the ground floor that we want to deal with. Here's our rooster friends. You can backstab roosters. Just any other animal. You can deflect roosters too. You can deflect almost every enemy in the game. And then we come below this house. Got lots of nice goodies. Money, which is very important. And then we go up here. Talk to the old lady. She'll give us a good item.
My son, have you seen the young master?
I am not your son.
There you go again, Inosuke. You always tease that I'm getting senile, but a mother knows her own son. Well, anyway, take this bell. It's a charm I made with the young master in mind. Please, offer it to Buddha for his sake.
This will allow us to go somewhere.
Inosuke, my son, have you offered the bell charm to Buddha? Have you tried the rundown temple with that stubborn sculpture in it? I'm sure you'll find Buddha there.
Then we can go talk to her actual son.
Who is it? Is somebody there?
Yes.
That voice? No. Could it be? Sir, my name is Inosuke Nogami, a vassal of the Hirata family. Or at least I was. I ask a favor. Might you look in on the old lady in that house? She's my mother, but her mind is failing. She cannot tell one from another.
I met your mother. She gave me a bell.
She did she? You have my thanks. That bell's troubled her for a long, long time. She kept muttering incoherently. Something about offering it to Buddha.
So, if we missed her but found him, he would redirect us. We're going to do something a little cheeky here. Oh. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to backstab that guy, but it is what it is. But that aggro's a dude with a cannon who's over there. Ranged dudes seem to have a knack of shooting at you no matter where they are. Kind of frustrating. Then I remember I forgot to go do something. So I'm gonna go back here. Most range enemies, even if you break line of sight, they still track you. It's a very weird game mechanic. Melee dudes can't see you no matter what, and range dudes can track you even when you go around corners. We can go up here. It's not important right now, but there's a very important item here. Well, let's see. Oh, I do. I do have everything I need. So with the gold I just got, I'll use these 3 coin purses. And then I'm going to buy one of the most important
Purchase an offering.
items in the game.
Offering. Indeed. I sell items to be offered to the dead, so they might rest in peace. From the looks of you, I'd wager you know a thing or two about death. Go ahead. Buy an offering.
So, what we want to buy is Robert's Firecrackers, which is another Shinobi prosthetic tool. It's very important, very useful on multiple enemies in the game, including the first boss, and then the mini-boss almost immediately after. So, we're going to spend our 500 for that.
Don't use that thing around here. You'll scare the crows. They're very intelligent. Leaps and bounds smarter than other animals. Cruelty won't be tolerated.
I never tested to see if he does get mad if you'd use it, but you know, don't want to test him. So there was an item somewhere that I forgot to grab. Right down here. You can go down here. Hurts a little, but not too big a deal. Just heal up. Grab this. This gives you an extra resurrection power. I don't really use them because generally either I've already died and it's locked out, or you know, I have one, because they actually refill pretty quickly if you aren't dying constantly. So once again, we're back around here. Cannon dude's over there, not aggroed anymore. Oh, one thing I didn't really see the game talk about is this little triangle indicator. What it is when you see it, you can grapple to it and it launches you past it. Circles, you'll latch to. Triangles, you'll launch past. The first time I saw that icon was on the mini boss coming up, and I didn't really actually know what it meant. So down there's guys you can kill. Not really that big a deal, but you know, if you want to get Sen and EXP, you can just do that. They aren't very smart. You can come back up here. Focus on the ones with the hats. Order of difficulty is bald. And no hats, then hats with the straw jackets. Oop. Oop. And then there is an item down here that you can go ahead and grab. More pellets, or more healing. And then you can loop around here, deal with this rooster. Running jump to get up here. Commune with the idol. Get the idol. Come down here, get some story. I ignore this guy first because I'm going to do something else before I talk to him. So I get a little bit more story, and there's some of the environmental storytelling that From Software likes to do. You see their cows or horses, not quite sure, dead in the stables. Definitely show you they're not in a good spot. Then we come to the first thing that kind of stumped me in the game. We get to this conversation. So I got here, listen to that conversation. Here, fire's the way to deal with this guy up here. But I go and I look at my inventory. I've got healing, resurrection statue, antidote, fistful of ash that was fire. I've got nothing that has to deal with fire in my inventory. So you'll go fight that guy. He'll most likely kill you if it's your first time playing, because he's actually pretty challenging. And you'll be like, man, this game's really, really hard. And it might be frustrating. So, you know, first I'm going to kill these guys, because why not? Go get this item, and then show you what you should do. And the game's trying to teach you this. It's very much, you go, you fight that guy, and you realize, wow, this guy's really hard. I wonder if there's something I can do. Also, more corpses, showing you more state of affairs here. Things are not looking good for Ashina. So, we picked up that bell from the old lady. We get to a point, we eavesdrop on some guards who say, we want fire. We don't have fire. Where are we going to get fire? Well, let's go figure out what that bead was for.